Okay, you're back with comedian David Boyle, and I am quitting alcohol. It's been a long time now. It's been a long time without booze. No drugs besides prescription pain medicine for my wisdom tooth and a couple of bad headaches, and one puff of a joint of hash that did nothing. That's been me for the last 245 days. And a lot of podcasting. A lot of fucking podcasting. That's what I've been up to. A listener actually sent me a message today, actually telling me he's going to send me in a story for Fucked Up Friday. But he said, I'm too fucked up now. Remind me tomorrow. I said, I'll remind you in 3 days once your hangover's fucking over. He's like, oh, I've got more of a bender to go on tomorrow. I'm like, all right, Wednesday. I'll message you Wednesday. Get me in a fucking story, cunt. He's like, I definitely will. And I'm pretty sure he definitely won't. But he asked me an interesting question. He's like, do you regret anything you've said on the podcast? And the simple answer to that is yes, all of it. Every single word I regret. 100% wish I could take it all back. But the thing is, I've thought about it, and I don't think I would have stayed sober this long without doing this podcast. If I wasn't doing this podcast, I would have just had no reason not to drink. I would have just rationalized it out. When I was in India, I would have been like, I'm on holiday. I'll just drink while I'm here. I'll stop as soon as I get back, which would never have happened because I also said, as soon as I get back from India, I'm going to stop smoking, eat healthy, start meditating, start doing all this shit. And so far, I've done none of that. So I would have just continued boozing anyway. Then he's like, I mean, regret, like if your wife hears it. And I'm like, hopefully she doesn't listen until I die. That would be the perfect scenario. I die, and then she starts listening to the podcast. She's listened to a few very select episodes. Very hand-picked fucking episodes. But she's pretty chill. She's been with me for almost 10 years. So she's toughened right the fuck up. Not much shocks her anymore. I just want to say thanks to all the people who send me messages. There's a lot of you and I enjoy speaking to you all. I like hearing your stories. I like seeing where you're at with drinking. I like hearing about you giving up booze and then 4 days later you're back on it. I like hearing you tell me how you've got it under control. You're not like me. You don't have to give up yet. And then 2 days later, sending me a message saying, I really have to stop drinking. Enough's enough. It's ruining my life. Keep hitting me up. I'll continue replying until I become famous enough to drop you all like the sacks of shit you are. But until then, I will be replying and interacting. I enjoy the interacting anyway. It's fun. I've seen people be real cold interacting with like people. I was in New York. And I went to a show at Caroline's and there was a comic on and he fucking destroyed. Really good comic. Can't remember his name for fuck. But I was waiting out the front of Caroline's waiting for an Uber to come because it was fucking minus 12. And he was there too. I'm like, that was a fucking great set, man. He's like, yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. Can you add me on Instagram? That's what he said immediately. Can you add me on Instagram? I'm like, bro, at least talk for 5 minutes and then throw the add me on Instagram at the back of the episode like I do. I've got a few new reviews as well that I'd like to read out. A couple of funny ones, so I'm just going to read you out my reviews. The first one's funny. If you're going to review, trash me. I don't mind. But give me a fucking 5-star review, you cunt. Okay, so this review was by some drunk cunt. That's his name. From Great Britain. This is how he starts. Okay, here's the review. You dislike him at the start. Cheers. You dislike him at the start and you get this sense of smugness that he thinks he's holier than thou. Holier than thou? Jesus Christ. That's my problem on stage as well. I walk to the microphone and the crowd immediately hates me. I guess they look at me and think this smug cunt, he thinks he's holier than thou. I always have to spend like the first 5 minutes almost convincing the crowd not to hate me. But now I'm a bit more seasoned. I don't give a fuck. I lean into it. I'm like, you hate me? Well, here's a reason to hate me more, cunts. Then he continues, but you soon realize that Boyle's just like you, if you were actually honest to yourself. It is a refreshingly honest insight of the journey of an addict becoming self-aware. The daily episodes allows immersion into his adventure to the land of sobriety and all the ups and downs of a day in the life. Well, thank you, some drunk cunt. You pretty much nailed it there. I am pretty hateable on first glance. But thank you for your review. Appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time in between drinks to give me a review. The next one's from Neil Bear in Australia. He says, I'm quitting too. Here's his review. I've decided to give it another go and quit. Found this podcast in the last few days. Have binge listened to catch up. Still got 180 to go. Real and edgy. Funny and sad. Big problem. Will I start drinking when the podcast ends? Hey, the podcast isn't going to fucking end. The podcast ends when I die or am so broke I can't afford the hosting fees anymore, or World War III. But even World War III, I may just podcast through the whole thing. But if World War III kicks off, I might drink through World War III. I'll change the name or something. Boyle boozes through World War III or whatever. But thank you, Neil Bear. Neil Bear? Are you like an old gay dude? Are you like a bear? Cheers, Neil Bear. If there's any twinks listening, hit up Neil Bear. He's into it. And here was another review. There's only 2 left. Just hang in there. This is from Misfit Ferrari. I actually know her. G'day, Paula. How are you? Thanks for the review. Paula says, knowing the people in the stories, I can't stop listening. Brilliant stories of some real-life train wrecks. Good on you, Boyle, for your honest recounts of why you gave up drinking. So much relatable material here. Love it. She's also a big fan of my other podcast, the Oppression Chamber podcast. Go listen to that too. If you want to become a mega fan of Boyle, the Smug Cunt, go listen to the Oppression Chamber. But don't listen to it from episode 1 because we sucked at episode 1. We actually sucked up until about episode 17. So listen to it backwards. Listen from the top down. Don't go to episode 1. That's just us stuttering and trying to figure out things to say. I think I read out a poem or something in one of the episodes. It's embarrassing. And the final review is from Beth. If this is the same Beth, Beth sent me a message early on. I think like maybe day 10 or something, when I still had the fucking shakes. And whenever people send me messages, it does help me keep going. It gives me a reason to continue doing the podcast too. So I do appreciate it. Okay, Beth says, not a podcast for the politically correct snowflakes. Yeah, you fucking snowflakes. Don't even click play, you fucking PC warriors SJWs. It's real, it's funny, it's out there at times, but above all, a highly entertaining daily snapshot into the life of a dark-witted comedian. Thanks, Beth. I appreciate that. Snowflakes be warned. Okay, that's it for tonight. Thank you very much for everyone who sends me messages, who reviews, who rates, who listens. I appreciate it. Stick with me. I'll probably start boozing again just to spice things up. See you fucking later.